Welcome, and thank you for joining me for day 6 of our 12 days of ZENMAS. Today we will take on a deep stretch for the hips. Go ahead and grab any props, blocks, bolsters, pillows, blankets. When you're ready, we'll meet seated on the mat. Bring the bottoms of the feet to touch, lengthen through the spine as we ground through the sit bones. Shoulders relax away from the ears. We take a moment to set an intention for today's practice, releasing any expectations, any to-do lists, dedicating this next 20 minutes to our mind and to our body. We're going to take it all the way down to the mat when we're ready. Option to add props. Maybe blocks go gently under the knees, allowing the knees to rest. We feel some sensations here in the inner thigh. Can place a bolster or pillow behind the back before we lie down. Open through the chest, maybe a hand to the belly, a hand to the heart. Focus in on the breath. Return to that intention. If we notice the mind starts to wander, we notice the thoughts, feelings, and sensations that arise. Noticing without judgment, we give the mind time to rest with nothing to do but to settle into stillness. Next inhale, we bring the knees to touch, ground the feet to the mat. Take a moment here to reset. We can release the arms. If we have that prop underneath us, let's take a moment to remove it and make our way back to a reclined position. Grounding the feet about hip-width apart to the mat. We're going to inhale, press through the heels. We lift through the hips, squeeze through the glutes. Chest lifts, grounded through the palms, shoulders. Maybe interlacing the fingers, sending the arms overhead, staying grounded. Core stays engaged. We draw the belly in towards the spine. We can place blocks under the hips to elevate. Maybe take a more restorative approach here. If we have blocks under the hips, we're going to take a moment, walk out the legs. Notice where the sensations shift within the body. Bring this mindfulness from head to toe. We allow the breath to work through any tension. Staying grounded through the feet and through the shoulders if we're in that bridge pose. If we have our legs extended, let's slowly start to ground the feet to the mat, returning back to our bridge pose. Taking a moment to remove our blocks. And as we exhale slow with control, we start to return the glutes to the mat. We'll bring the knees into the chest. Take a moment to find some movement, maybe rocking side to side, drawing circles with the knees. When we're ready, we rock ourselves up to a seated position, coming to our swan pose. We are going to keep that left leg in front of us and that right leg behind us. We keep the hips square. So we drop through the hips, we lift through the chest here. If it's accessible and in our practice today, we try to keep a 90 here with that left leg. When we're ready, we can slowly take it down to the mat, maybe grounding through the forearms. As we exhale, we start to bring that chest all the way down towards that left thigh. We let go of the things that are no longer serving us, allowing for release through each exhale. We're going to walk our hands to the left side of the mat. As we lengthen through the fingertips, drop through the chest. Notice what we feel on that left outer hip. Mindful of the body, connected with the breath. Inhale brings us back to center. 2 final deep breaths. Next inhale, we walk the hands up. We start to lift through the chest. When you're ready, we'll ground through the palms, shift the hips back, and ground to that left foot, coming to a low lunge. Right top of the foot stays grounded to the mat. We press the hips forward. Inhale to reach the arms up, lift through the chest, keep the shoulders relaxed. As we exhale, we bring the hands to heart center. Right palm grounds to the mat as we inhale, reach the left arm up, stack through the shoulders, open through the chest. We're going to walk the left toes out, left toes point towards the corner of the mat. Option to bend that left elbow. Or we can bring the hand to that left knee, press the hip open, roll onto the outer edge of that left foot, going a little deeper in the hip. We store a lot of tension here in the hips. Let's take a moment to really release as we exhale, going deeper here into that right hip flexor. As we open through that left hip. As we inhale, we start to make our way back to center, grounding through that left foot. We're going to bring both hands on the right side of the mat, grounding through the palms. Maybe we bring the forearms to a bolster, block, pillow. If it's in our practice today, we can ground the forearms all the way down to the mat, coming into our full dragon. When we're ready, we'll start to lift through the chest, ground through the palms. Take a moment to remove that prop. We find center with the left foot, and on exhale, send it back, grounding through the knee. When we're ready, we send that right shin forward to find our swan pose. Hips stay square, we release on exhale. Inhale to lift through the chest. When we're ready, we slowly drop the chest towards that right thigh. We take time to surrender, to release and let go. Allowing the breath to be our guide, our center. We're going to lengthen through the arms, send them to the right side. As we lengthen through that left side body here, allow our exhale to drop the hips a little bit deeper. Inhale returns us to center. Two more deep breaths. We'll slowly start to lift the chest, coming onto the forearms. We lift all the way through the chest, bring the hands back to the mat. Hips go back as we ground through that right foot. When we're ready, we find our low lunge. Inhale, arms reach up. We lift through the chest. So we exhale, hands to heart center. Left hand grounds to the mat, right arm reaches up. We stack through the shoulders, open through the chest. We start to walk over the right foot. Right toes point towards the corner of the mat. So we exhale, we bend at the elbow. Option to bring that right hand to the right knee. Roll onto the outer edge of the right foot. Find a deeper hip stretch here. We sink into that left hip flexor through each exhale. We ground that right foot to the mat, hips come back center, and when we're ready, we bring both of the hands to the left side. Option to ground through the palms, through the forearms, using props if you'd like, or grounding the forearms all the way to the mat, dragon pose. Two more deep breaths. We'll slowly lift the chest to make our way out, removing our prop. Right leg goes behind us. Let's take a moment, bring the glutes to meet the heels. Before we go into our next one, I'm going to take a few moments just to demonstrate our options. We'll be coming into our saddle pose. First option is going to be with blocks. We can place 1 or 2 blocks directly under the sit bones to elevate the hips. We have the option of keeping it too high or maybe taking it down to 1 block. We can also replace our block with a bolster, pillow, or blanket. Option 2 is going to keep the legs together, bringing the thigh directly onto the calf here. For option 3, we're going to ground the sit bones all the way to the mat so that the ankles are outside of the hips. For hand placement, we can lift through the chest, bring the fingertips to the mat. We have the option of dropping down to the forearms. We could keep the head at center or drop it back and open up through the throat. We also have the option of using our pillow, blanket, or bolster, bringing it behind the back for a reclined position here. We can bring the arms to lie beside the body. We focus in on the heart center, noticing the feelings, the emotions that arise in this moment. Two more breaths. When we're ready, we'll make our way to a seated position on the mat. We're going to walk the hands forward, lift through the hips. We'll swing the legs around and come to a reclined position. Knees come into the chest. We'll take a moment to find some organic movement. Check in with the back. Coming into our happy baby, option to grab on at the shins, the outer or inner edges of the feet, maybe even at the heels. We draw the knees in towards the armpits, opening up through the hips, lengthening to the low back here. Option to find stillness or maybe some movement, rocking side to side, bending and straightening the legs. We allow the breath to guide us, to release, to let go. We bring our awareness to the body, noticing the sensations that arise. Where do we feel them? How do they feel? Mindfulness within the body. When we're ready, we'll release the legs, sending them straight into the air, staying flexed through the feet, coming to our waterfall pose. We can place a prop under the hips to elevate. We can keep the arms beside the body or bring a hand to the belly and a hand to the heart. We start to quiet the mind, focus in on that intention. We take this final posture to release anything that is no longer serving us. Three more deep breaths. Next exhale, we draw the knees into the chest. We can take a moment to remove our prop. We can take a moment to take any last minute stretches we feel called to. When we're ready, we'll extend the legs long, arms come beside the body. As we start to surrender the mind, the body follows as it melts into the mat. We release these thoughts. And we surrender the mind and the body to our final relaxation, Shavasana. We'll start to bring movement into the body, wiggling the toes, the fingers, rolling out the wrists and the ankles. When we're ready, we'll roll onto that right side, find our fetal pose position. Take these last few moments for our mind and for our body. When you're ready, we'll make our way to a seated position on the mat. We'll bring our hands to heart center. Thank you all for joining me for day 6 of our 12 days of ZENMAS. Today we took on a deep stretch for the hips, yin style. I hope you all enjoyed. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell. The light in me sees and honors the light in you. Namaste.